Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Dateable, a show all about modern dating where we dig into the whys of people's behavior, why people behave and say and do the things that they do when it comes to modern dating. This was another eventful, crazy week. You're like, 2020, what else you got? It's only October, give it to us. But Trump with the COVID news.
I didn't believe it at first. I admit I was very skeptical of it, but now I'm starting to come around. I mean, the fact that it's like spread to a bunch of different people in the White House. I don't know. I mean, obviously wish him health, like you never want to wish someone not health, but it's so crazy to me that like him and all the people in the White House just have not been wearing masks.
That and it proved to me that nobody's safe. And I think we kind
No.
of forgot about COVID for a little bit. We're like, oh,
Yes.
things start opening up and I can start eating out. I can start taking Ubers. And then you're like, fuck, if the president catch COVID, nobody is safe. And this is exactly why I had this conversation with my friend Frances, who is all about just being healthy and keeping healthy. And she's like, you got to stay hydrated. So Julie, I don't know if you've seen this, but I got this ginormous water bottle. For anybody who can't see this, you gotta watch.
It's like filling up the entire screen on YouTube. It's like bigger than UA's head. I have never seen a water bottle this big. I love that you're like, I have something special to share with you and wouldn't say what, and this is it.
This is my surprise to you. This water bottle. Okay, so she sent me the link. Frances, love you for it. But on the link, this water bottle looks super cute. I was like, oh, I could take that around. I did not think about how big 1 gallon was. If I really sat down to think about it, guys, 1 gallon, you get a gallon of milk, right? Which lasts you like a week or two. This is a gallon of water you're supposed to drink on a daily basis. And when I got it in the mail, I was like, fuck, I gotta drink this whole thing in a day. I'm just peeing every hour and I'm like every 30 minutes, hoping that I can flush out any chances of COVID. That's my goal.
Is this the new hydrochloric oxide trick? I'm just kidding.
Thanks for that. But do you see like the little motivational words on here? It starts at like, good morning. It's like, hydrate yourself.
I
I
think you should send one to Donald Trump and Melania. They'd really appreciate that.
they could really use the water. But you gotta hydrate, Julie. It'll help you with
Okay.
everything in life. I feel great. Actually, no.
I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm not gonna get one that big. I'll be on the hydration challenge, but I'm not getting that water bottle that you just shared. So that's out.
I
But
think a gallon is a little bit overboard.
it's a little overboard. But I do think like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a reminder that COVID's not gone. I think that was loud and clear in the fact that like people that were thinking this was a hoax is now like, oh wait, something's happening. I don't know. I don't want to spread conspiracy theories, so I
Oh,
won't go too deep, but
you won't be the only one.
I don't know if I fully believe it, which is sad because it's like that is saying so much already. And I think the fact that like I was talking to a friend about it and she was like, the fact that you are even questioning it, and not just me, there's like a ton of people
Hmm.
questioning it, just says so much about our country and the divide and all of that. So one thing we've been talking about forever that we really want to do now that it's, election time is we would love to do a dating experiment
Hmm.
about having two people with opposing political views. Like we've done some polls on Facebook and everyone gets very heated around this topic. So like, could people with opposing views like really dig each other? Like, is it possible?
And there's a couple theories, right? It's about, do opposites attract? But then
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have similar values and beliefs, could you overcome that if everything else falls into place? So we are looking for people who are first and foremost single.
That is the
That
criteria.
that is a must. Also very passionate about politics and willing to be set up on a date with someone who may have opposite political views. That's
I'm
it.
like tempted to do it. It sounds really interesting because I feel like there's so many stereotypes that go with the opposing view. Like it would be really interesting to see like if that breaks down. I know it's a sample size of one, it's not a scientific study, but it would still be super interesting to get, like a real life example.
And who doesn't want to be set up and then be interviewed on the Dateable podcast?
Exactly.
It's like a bucket list item everyone should have.
I feel like all the people that we've done this with have like now, just made so much strides in their dating life, whether to find that person or just get more confident on their own. So it is a win-win for everyone.
I want to say this too. I want to emphasize the goal of this experiment is not to make fun of people with political beliefs that we personally, Julie and I personally, may not believe in. It's just purely to see, it's a social experiment, and we're not here to reprimand, make fun, or offend anybody. It's just to see if two people with opposing political beliefs can get along and maybe develop something romantically. That's it.
Exactly. No judgment zone here. Everyone has a right to their beliefs, which is a reminder. This is our PSA that we have to do as podcasters, is to go vote. Like, I feel like no matter what your political lines are, like, again, we're not going to spew political advice. We might have opinions, but we're never going to like tell people they're right or wrong, but definitely exercise your vote, because I think especially like with all of this happening with Trump getting COVID and all that, that doesn't sideswipe this election and how important it is.
And if you are in the camp of saying, well, I live in a state where my vote wouldn't really matter because everybody would vote the same way I do. Imagine if everybody in your state were like, even 50% of people in the state felt the same way you did and they didn't go vote. That's a problem. And that's why your vote does count, even though if you think that your one little vote can't really sway anything, that's not how it works.
I will say, I know people are like, oh, I don't want to vote for either candidate, so I either won't vote or I'll vote for someone else on the ticket that's clearly not going to win. At the end of the day, if you do that, you're just not voting. Yeah. So, like, exercise your vote. Who is the better of both? It's our right. It's us making a voice. It's the best thing you can do in November. It's coming up.
It's coming up. So
it's going to be a crazy month. That's for sure.
Wow.
It's already crazy. October 1st, it got crazy.
I know. I saw that some people had already started their 2021 calendars. Like, they're not even looking at the rest of 2020. Nope. But there's still so much more that could be happening. It's like a really good, I guess, a really interesting TV show that still has 4 more episodes left or something. You're like, what?
There were so many memes about that was like, here's the plot twist for October. Trump has COVID.
You can't
What's
make this
going to happen
up.
next? I mean, yeah. There's also conspiracy theories about the whole election getting postponed.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get too deep into them. But yeah, it's going to be a wild ride. I've seen some people that were doing like Sober October. I think like Joe Rogan's like podcast group does that, and they were like, I don't know if we can do a Sober October because this shit's about to get real in October.
Yeah, as I take a sip from my gallon water bottle that's actually
you'll be filling that with vodka by the end. UA's like on the call just like
oh hey, just being hydrated. That's all. Listen, let's get to our would you rather, because I there was so much discussion around this. I want to make sure we get to all the points. The would you rather for last week was, if you found out the next time you'll fall in love is 5 years from now and you had the ability to time travel, Julie's favorite thing, would you rather A, head to 5 years from now, or B, stay put and wait it out?
So I have some clarifying questions.
Of course.
Do you lose the 5 years?
Yes.
Like, you lose them from your life?
Yes.
Is COVID like able to be fast forwarded in those 5 years? Because that also makes a difference.
Who knows? There are a lot of unknowns in the 5 years. A lot of unknowns. So my friend Emily wrote, she's like, what do you mean? This is such an easy one. Fast forward to love. Let's get to the 5 years.
I saw a few people writing that.
And then there were other people who said, I would not lose a day in my life with my children. I don't want to lose 5 years with them. And then there was a lot of flip-floppers saying, well, I've been single and lonely for so long, I would pretty much give anything to find love right now. But then in those 5 years, you never know what could happen. And then you also, this is a good point, you don't know what you're fast forwarding to. Like, what if there's a COVID 2.0 that you're fast forwarding to? And Julie, I thought about like the last time I said I love you to someone was in 2009. Okay. And then my boyfriend, I said I love you in March of this year. Okay. So if this question were posed to me in 2009, and I was like, fast forward to the next time I fall in love, which is 2020, I would have fast forwarded to COVID.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I think another thing that did come up that I agree with is, there's more to life than finding relationships. Like, that's not the whole part of life. Like, being single, like, is not the end of the world. You have the most self-growth in like different things that you can experience during that time. So for that reason alone, I would not fast forward. I would stick it out
Mm-hmm.
because I just don't think that's all that's out there. Like, I think it'd be great to be with your person, but if you're going to be with them anyways in 5 years, like, what's the rush? You might as well enjoy all this other stuff. I'm going to give a little teaser of a guest that we have booked that's coming up, Case Kenny, that we're super excited
Oh,
about. And I've been listening to some of his stuff, and he has this journal that's called Single is Your Superpower. And I think what he was saying was so much of it I totally resonate with. The fact that like this is your time to like build yourself and like understand yourself. So then when you are in a partnership, you don't lose yourself. And yeah, like everyone has different timelines, and maybe you're saying, oh, I've already built myself more than enough and I'm ready to fast forward. But I think every day I learn something new. So I would not
mhm.
fast forward.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And in the words of Monica, our friend and also part of our Facebook group, she said, why is everybody so responsible with their answers? It's like the responsible answer, right? No, life is too short. I'm going to, stay in the 5 years and not skip over. But it is true. I think about even just this may seem so crazy to some people, but I don't want to lose 5 years of my dog's life because those are dog years. Okay. He's already
Yeah,
9.
yeah,
In 5 years, I don't know what's going to happen to him. I don't want to lose
exactly.
those 5 years.
That's like
And
5 years with your parents, like 5 years
yeah,
with
five
other
years,
people.
5 years
Yeah.
with so many things. And that comes with personal development. A lot could happen in 5 years. I agree. And also, falling in love is a little different than staying in love and maintaining a
Yep.
relationship. So, what if you fast forward to 5 years? You do fall in love, but then you fall out right away.
Yeah,
Too many
I
unknowns.
agree. I think, yeah, you just, like you got to take life for what it is, and everything is a building block. But what did the people say? What did our listeners vote in? I always love to know the final numbers.
74% said they would stay put and not fast forward. So that leaves 26% saying fast forward to love. Get me there
Interesting. So it's
now.
pretty much the monopoly or the majority was saying
They would,
stay where you are.
yeah, being
Yeah.
responsible, quote unquote, responsible.
Yeah, well, I have news. I have my first socially distanced date coming up this week.
This is the first one you'll be going
This
on.
is the first one. I've done
Oh, it's
some video
momentous.
dates and some phone dates. This is my first date since March. Isn't that crazy? Like, first date with someone new. I should preface it and say that because there
Right,
was a period in between March and May that I was revisiting an old relationship.
right.
So that wasn't really dating, though, I don't view it as.
Yeah,
So, and also that's when like COVID was at its peak. So when we were together, we weren't like going on dates anyways. We are just
right.
at my house.
Yeah,
So
you're just hanging
this
out.
exactly, this is my first date, which is so crazy, like mask
Hmm.
on date, but I needed that time to myself after. And honestly, I've been kind of like screening a bit. Like, I haven't been rushing to meet every last person. And while I don't know if this person is my like soulmate, I can say that we had two really good conversations, and
Mm.
it makes me comfortable to meet him. I understand his levels of, feeling towards COVID, which match
Hmm.
mine. So I feel like I was able to suss all that out. And it may not be a romantic connection. It's hard to really know till you're in person, but I don't think I will go and have a bad time. Like, I think we'll be able to have a conversation, which is really all you could ask from dating at the end of the day.
And what is this date? What does it entail?
So we haven't fully figured it out. It's not till Thursday. But we talked about drinks and going to Fillmore Street, which is like an area of town near my house in Pacific Heights. So we haven't like nailed down the location exactly, but it will probably result in drinking and eating somewhere.
Hmm.
And we actually had this pretty big debate on the Facebook group of, is a walk a good first date? And some people were very much pro walk, like this is a great low investment way to just casually get to know someone and see if there's chemistry. And then other people were like, no,
Absolutely no.
no, because it was like, I don't want to carve out time in my schedule for something that doesn't feel like a date. And I probably fall more on the second camp of, I've been on walk dates before, and to be honest, like they've never really been anything. Like they were either fine or it wasn't a fit. And I just feel like you're kind of setting yourself up for just a status quo date. And my personal opinion is I would rather screen people on video or phone first. So when I'm actually going on a date and getting ready to meet someone, I'm like going on like more of a date. That being said, like we've talked about before, if someone wants to make it like a walk to the beach and have a picnic or open a bottle of wine or something like more romantic, or like a walking tour of the city, not just like, oh, we're gonna like go on a stroll down the block that I can do myself. That's my
I I have very strong feelings about this, Julie. I am so strongly opposed to walking dates because psychology shows that the only way you can establish a strong connection with someone is when you make eye contact and you're facing them.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem I have with walking dates is the same I have with movie dates or concert dates, is that you're both facing forward, you're not facing each other. How do you establish a connection that way? So
Yeah.
I agree. I think a walking date only works if you're walking to do something.
Yeah, I think it's also really hard to have like an in-depth, I don't know, maybe I'm just too like not coordinated, but for me to like walk and then also have like a serious convo is very difficult, where I'm like trying to like, be witty and shoot the shit with someone and get to know them. Like I like to sit down and like do a more face-to-face, deeper convo.
Well, also there are just so many distractions. There's street lights, there's people crossing in front of you, there's cars, and so you can't have someone's full attention. I just think they're
Yeah.
terrible for that.
So there was one point that was made in this debate that did get me thinking, though, of maybe changing my opinion, but I'm still not 100% convinced because I think you can get this from like phone and that stuff. But the feeling was that it's almost like a very casual, that you're just just getting to know someone a little more organically. Like if you looked at like work and meeting through friends, it wasn't like expected to be romantic immediately. So sometimes some of the trouble with online dates is that you get like all dolled up and you're going to like dinner or drinks or whatever, and it feels like more of an event. So then you're like expecting it to be romantic or not. So that was some of the logic. I don't know if I agree with it because I feel like people are still in a date mentality if you're meeting off a dating app. And I don't know if that just goes away because you took a walk.
Yeah, I think it really depends on context. If you met someone through church, let's say, or through an organization, and you're like, let's hang out Saturday, want to go on a walk, that works because you're
Yeah.
setting up the premise that you're getting to know each other casually, but also with the expectation that you're going to see each other again because you both belong to this one organization. But if you're meeting off a dating app, I agree. The expectation is that it's a date. So let's make it an event.
Didn't you go on a lot of walks actually with your boyfriend at early stages with your dogs and stuff?
No, but this is, he was all about walking coffee dates. And I made fun of him for it. We never went on these, but
Oh, I thought you guys did like dog parks, but I guess you guys also were more friends first anyways.
yeah, I mean, if we met off of a dating app and he asked me to go on a dog walk date, I'd be like, no.
No.
To
Exactly.
put it
And
nicely, no.
I think that's what it is. It's like the carving out your schedule to go on something that could be like, I don't want to get all ready to go on something that could be like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, or even half an hour. Where are we going to? What's our purpose? And then like, are you going to establish a route? And I don't know. All of it makes me really mad to think about. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like a hike, even though it's the exact same thing, but you're in nature, I feel like that feels like even more of a destination. I think there needs to be a destination.
Destination, you got to walk to something. And with hikes, you could get tired in the middle and like maybe sit and eat a snack and talk to each other. With walking, you could just be not facing each other the entire time.
So I think if people want to do this, because I totally get the concerns of like in COVID times, it's a really good alternative because you don't want to necessarily go to restaurants. I think if people want to do it, they just need to give it a little more structure. Like we're going to walk to X and we're going to sit there for a little and then maybe we'll walk back or whatever. It can't just be like this ambiguous walk.
Yes, I would love it if it was like I will come pick you up on foot, and then
Yeah.
we're going to walk to our first spot, and then I have this second spot planned that's about half a mile away. If you don't mind, we just meander over there. That's
Yeah.
great. Love that.
I don't know if I'd want a first date picking me up at my house though, because I don't want them to know where I live.
That's true.
But
That's true. Especially on foot. You're like, oh, you can't,
yeah.
I can't run away that fast. Yeah, that's true. But maybe like we'll meet at this corner.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I swear to God, though, if my date that I have lined up was like, let's go on a walk, I probably would cancel. So hopefully he doesn't pull that card. I don't think he will, but
Hopefully he listens to this episode. He's like,
I know,
damn
I'm
it.
like, also, like, I know people have been like, I've been really digging your dating updates. I think the one thing that I'm like a little like, should I be doing these? Because I would hate for someone to like listen and think that this is the only reason why I'm going on dates with them. So I will give as much as I can, but if I, like if there is something that actually blossoms, you might hear it a little delayed just out of privacy for someone else.
Well, I think you should also have this rule, Julie, is that you would only talk about them in a way that you would also say the same things to their face, right? It's not
Yeah.
about talking behind their back, but you're also more than comfortable to say these things to them too.
Yep. Although a lot of my exes were like, I would have liked you to talk about me more. So who knows?
Ew, really? Really? Okay. You want to hear about themselves. My boyfriend's the exact opposite.
He's
Please
like,
talk
don't
about
talk
me.
about me at all.
Please don't. It makes me really nervous. I don't know what you're going to say. But you know what? Today's a good episode. This is a really good episode. Let's dig ourselves out of this.
Let's do a 180.
Let's
Yes.
do a complete 180. Talk about putting yourself in sometimes uncomfortable situations. We've talked about fetishes and kinks on other episodes, and we're constantly looking for new ones because it's just so fascinating.
So
And
fascinating.
it's someone else's, this is something I had to realize recently, is a fetish to you is someone else's comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's not, what was it? Don't yuck their yum.
Yep, that was the statement, which I think is words to wisdom to live by for not just fetishes, pretty much anything in life.
Anything in life. So our guest today is here to talk about puppy play.
UA's secret fetish.
My secret fetish, not so secret anymore. Everybody knows I love dogs, but you'll hear on this episode that I also love being a dog. A secret. We've heard about puppy play years ago, Julie, I think through someone else, but we didn't really know how big this group was and what it really entailed and where the different layers. So I'm glad we got someone who has been very involved in that
Yeah.
community to talk about
And
it.
there was, on the episode, as I was editing it, there was a request to show some of the footage of him in his puppy outfits on YouTube.
Yes.
So TBD if that will come, but we will have stuff on social media and YouTube that will, reveal this a little further. But this episode definitely opened my mind because I think also like in San Francisco especially, I mean, there's a reason why like San Francisco has always been like a counterculture capital and like, especially with like homosexual relationships really like taking off here and being like the place where everyone goes. So there's always been a norm here. But that being said, I've never like dug this deep into what this fetish is. Like we did with the diaper fetish episode. So if you missed that, definitely check that one out. But I think this one, I've definitely seen people in pup gear walking around, but I
Oh
just
yeah.
never knew like the background of it fully. And I'm guessing if you don't live in San Francisco, this could be like super foreign to you. You probably have never seen anyone in pup gear before. So, mind blown, opening up. This is educational for all.
I will always remember the statement, monogamy is a fetish.
Yeah.
So think about that. If monogamy is something you're used to, it is a fetish for other people. Maybe it's just not something that other people are into, or they think it's totally out of the ordinary for themselves. And that's really
Yeah.
what it is. Finding your interests and finding like the thing that you're really excited about. And our guest is really excited about puppy play.
Yes, he was like, please put up all the photos, all the videos of me and my pup gear. So we will honor that request.
He's very proud of the costumes. I love them too. That's enough of a tease for this episode because I think, people should really listen. We do have some announcements. One being, we haven't done live streams in a really long time. So we are going to do one next week. Make sure you're on our Instagram and in our Facebook group so we can announce exactly when and what time. But this live stream will be the beginning to kick off something even bigger. How ambiguous can you be in one sentence?
So we are doing the live stream on the 15th on Thursday night at 5:30 p.m. through our Facebook group. We are going to try to record it though so we can get it out if you're not a Facebook user, but this is an extra push to join the Facebook group, which you've been wanting to do anyways. And it's going to be going to be great because we have so much planned. Like we're not going to reveal too much right now, but there is there's been like a little project that's been brewing. And we're super excited about it, and we can't wait to share it all with you.
And if you just follow us on Instagram, or if you are in our Facebook group, that's when you get kind of like first look at everything. It's very exclusive behind the scenes. So if you're really curious about what we're up to, just follow us on social. and another announcement is, we say this every week, but we really mean it. Reviews. Ratings, yes. Please, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It really helps our podcast grow. Like Julie and I created this from scratch almost 5 years ago. Almost 5 years ago.
As independent creators. There aren't that many independent creators that have been able to get up in the charts. So you guys leaving us those ratings and reviews has really helped. Like there was a time that we were in the top 25 relationship podcasts. Mm-hmm. So we would love to get up there again.
We'd love to be in the top 5.
Yeah, right after Brene Brown, obviously.
Obviously. Watch out, Brene. We're coming for you. We're coming for you, Brene. Deep breaths. Puppy play. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Let's hear it from Chris.
We could also start losing that too. My God, that water bottle is out of control.
I think the
intro. I take a photo of you with the water bottle. This is our do a video. This is our recording session. This is our Sunday recording session with Yue's massive bottle of vodka over there.
Stay hydrated.
Oh fuck, I did it the wrong way. I'm so bad at this.
Well, good thing we're still recording.